What if you could give one gift to every person in the Coastal Bend? One gift that could create hope in a place where it might not have existed before. What would it be? And where would you buy it? How could one small gift help so many people? Morgan Hurley was born with a life-threatening heart condition and Down syndrome. Soon after birth, she underwent successful open heart surgery at Driscoll Children's Hospital by famed heart surgeon Dr. James Duff. But Morgan's and her parents' struggle had just begun.
We started looking for daycare for Morgan, and that's when we first realized how difficult a prospect that was going to be. Had no idea. Our older daughter had been in daycare since she was 8 months old. Both my husband and I work full-time. So it just never occurred to us that, other than the health issue, which we thought had been taken care of, her heart, it never occurred to us it would be a problem. And it didn't quite turn out to be that way. We were fortunate enough to find Bethune Daycare. Morgan started when she was 18 months old and has grown up here. She has grown up here. She's now, as I said, 12 years old. Bethune's been a huge part of our life for years, and I think that they deserve to be recognized for their willingness to see the similarities rather than the differences. And at times over the last 12 years, I've looked back and been so grateful for the parts of this community that have helped us not only survive, but that have helped Morgan thrive. And it started for us with Driscoll Children's Hospital. If she had not had her surgery here, we would have had to go to Houston or San Antonio or some other place. It's disruptive enough to have a child undergoing open heart surgery without not being in your own home. And like I said, we have an older daughter. So it just is mind-boggling to think of having to not only deal with the stresses of handing that baby over. That day remains one of the most difficult days that my husband and I have had. It's one thing to know technologically and medically what they're going to do, but when you hand that baby over, that's when it really hits home for you. And the United Way of the Coastal Bend is a supporter of Bethune and therefore a supporter of my child, and has helped her in all the time she's been here to be where she is today. Without the supports of the community, I'm not saying things are perfect, obviously they aren't, and that's not even what I'm looking for, but to have the chance, Morgan deserves a chance to be like everybody else. And the parts of this community that have had a significant impact have been Bethune Daycare, Day Nursery, the United Way for helping them keep their doors open, Driscoll, she still goes once a year. She's still under the care of a cardiologist, still facing heart surgery at some point. But without those supports, our family would not be okay.
On June 16, 2006, 81-year-old Adeline Gonzalez saw her home of more than 40 years go up in smoke. Fire gutted the back of her house, and roof and water damage destroyed the rest of the house. Overnight, Adeline and her grandson Eduardo found themselves without a place to live. But the American Red Cross came to their rescue with food, clothing, and hotel accommodations until other family members could help out.
The Red Cross, working with funds from the United Way, they're in essence an extension of the emergency services that the fire department delivers. To say that when you give the United Way, you are in fact saving lives by helping organizations such as the Red Cross to deliver their goods and services to the community in need, it's not a stretch at all.
Domestic abuse is a cruel cycle of violence that affects some families for generations. But with the help of some United Way supported agencies, such as the Women's Shelter, some families are breaking that vicious cycle.
My name is Lisa Hancock, and I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I can remember an incident where, during an argument, my husband threw me up against the wall, stuck his thumbs in my ears and squeezed my head really tight. He told me he was going to dig my brain out through my skull. Another time, he threw me up against the wall, twisted my arm back and put it up against our sliding glass door. He told me he was going to use my arm to break the glass and that we were both going to stand there and watch me slowly bleed to death. Well, even after all of this, I still wasn't sure. I thought I might be blowing things out of proportion. You know, maybe this is how things are supposed to be. Maybe this is just the for better or worse part of our marriage vows. Eventually, when the episodes of violence began occurring closer and closer together, and his anger began being directed towards the children, I thought, you know, he says he's going to kill me if I stay. He says he's going to kill me if I go. Just maybe I'll have a better chance at living if I leave. And that's why, on that day, August 12th, 1994, my 10-year-old came to me. She was crying. He had thrown a toy at her. And she said, "Mommy, it hurt really bad." And she's crying, and you know, when you're watching a movie and you're watching the slow motion, your mind starts to do that slow motion thing. Well, I was playing a little movie in my head, watching her cry, and I'm thinking, she's watched me live this life. I watched my mom live this life. My mom watched her mom live this life. If I don't do something to break this cycle, my baby girl's gonna marry a man and think that this is the way life is supposed to be. When made the decision to leave and change my life and better my children's life, I decided that I would do anything and everything to make their life better. And I was able to do that through many of the United Way agencies, agency programs. It was through the Women's Shelter that I learned that I was a person. I'll never forget my first counseling session. My counselor asked me to tell her a little bit about myself, my kids, my home life, and once I was done, after about 20 minutes, she said, "Okay, you've told me about your home, your kids, your husband. Who takes care of Lisa?" And my brain just shorted out because I'd never learned that Lisa was supposed to be taken care of. I was supposed to take care of everybody else. The Women's Shelter pointed me in the direction of all the other programs that were available to get my life back on track. And it was through their empowerment that I was able to go in a different direction and teach my children that life was good. I was able to complete my education and involve the children in different programs in the community. 9 times out of 10 they were United Way funded agencies, but it was through the counseling and the support that I learned I was a human being worth living and that I had value.
Today, far too many people must choose between buying food or buying medicine. For the uninsured and the underinsured, the problem is even worse. It's literally an issue of life and death. But there is help. United Way supported programs such as OATH, which stands for Open Arms and Thankful Hearts.
The Otha Program is a pharmaceutical assistance program. We access free medications directly from the manufacturers for people that don't have health insurance or prescription coverage. And to date, we have helped more than 19,000 people in more than 31 Texas counties. And we access about $7.5 million worth of free medicine for those folks every year. The most important thing about our relationship with the United Way is to make people understand that every penny counts. A lot of people, like myself, don't have health insurance. We understand what people are going through, but we also don't make a whole lot of money. And you really wonder if the money you give goes to the people that need it. And for every dollar that we received in United Way funds last year, we turned that into more than $33 worth of services. And I think that's very important for people to know, because even if you can only give $1 or $2 and you partner that with other people's $1 or $2, and that money goes a long way.
I got involved with the Otha Program because I was in need of medications. I had a heart attack and had high blood pressure, and I had no funds whatsoever at the moment. My husband was without work. It saved my life. It saved my life because I had a way to get my medications where I couldn't turn around and go to the pharmacy and purchase them.
I would like to say thank you on behalf of my daughter, on behalf of all the kids like my daughter.
Only through the Lord's grace that we were able to make it through. I had numerous surgeries when we didn't have any insurance. He was a mechanic and had cancer and wasn't able to work anymore. And I thank God for Oath and all it's done in the United Way and what they've done for everybody, because I've seen so many people come through there that could not afford their medicines. And through this program, they were able to get their medications and have better health.
The United Way of the Coastal Bend. Let the giving begin.